My parents moved into my house, and when my older brother moved in too, he demanded the master bedroom and half of my personal space. I kicked them all out. So now it's me, a 28-year-old woman, living in a house I fully pay for. Sounds simple, but it's much more complicated than that. Let me start from the beginning. I bought my house last year. I pay for everything, the mortgage, utilities, food, everything. My parents, Alberto and Sarah, are both retired and don't contribute financially at all. They moved in because they were having serious money problems. At the same time, I have a good-paying job and wanted to be closer to work opportunities in the city. I also thought it would be nice to help my parents after all the support they gave me growing up. The house has 3 bedrooms. Nothing fancy, but comfortable, with a backyard and a spacious living room. Since I pay for everything, I took the master bedroom. It has a walk-in closet and a private bathroom, which I love because I hate sharing bathrooms. The second bedroom is my home office. I work from home about 80% of the time, so I set it up with my computer, a comfortable chair, and everything I need. The third bedroom was a guest room for family visits. First, everything was fine. My parents were happy to be in the city, did their own thing, and I handled work and household expenses. I didn't mind paying because they're my parents, and it felt good to help them. But then things changed. One morning at breakfast, my mom dropped a bomb. She mentioned that my older brother, Fernando, and his wife, Mons, were thinking about moving to the city. Mons was pregnant, and apparently they were struggling financially. She said they clearly needed help. At first, I didn't think much of it. Fernando and Mons have always jumped from one bad situation to another. I assumed they would rent a small apartment nearby. That's when things took a turn I didn't expect. A few days later, my mom sat me down with an innocent tone and told me they had invited my brother and his wife to stay with us, just for a while, until they got back on their feet. They didn't ask me. They told me after the invitation was already made. Before I could fully process it, Fernando and Mons showed up with suitcases, clearly planning to stay long-term. From the start, it was obvious they had no intention of leaving anytime soon. I was already stressed thinking about the extra expenses. I was paying for everything, groceries, bills, the mortgage, and now I was expected to support 2 more adults without anyone asking how I felt. I love my brother, but Fernando is not responsible. He constantly gets himself into trouble, and everyone else fixes things for him. Mons is polite on the surface, but her attitude bothered me. As if being pregnant meant the world should revolve around her. Tension started building almost immediately. A few days after they moved in, Mons began making comments that sounded harmless but were actually annoying. "This house is so big. It must be hard for you to clean it all by yourself. We're going to need a lot of space for the baby when it arrives." First, I brushed it off. But one night, things escalated. Fernando and Mons pulled me aside and said they wanted to talk. I thought maybe they were going to apologize for being a burden or offer to help financially. I was wrong. Fernando calmly said, "We've been thinking. It would make more sense if we took the master bedroom." I blinked, thinking I misheard him. Then Mons added, "Yes, the baby will need a lot of space, and your room has the walk-in closet and the private bathroom." I reminded them, "I pay the mortgage. I pay for everything." They were standing there, seriously suggesting I give up my own bedroom for them and their future baby. I kept my cool and said, "Why don't you take the guest room? It's big enough." Mons looked at me like I had said something ridiculous. "That room doesn't have a walk-in closet. The baby needs space." That was it. "I'm not giving up my room. You can take the guest room, or you can find somewhere else to live." Fernando looked shocked. Mons was clearly offended. In that moment, I knew this wouldn't end well. Over the next few days, things got worse. Fernando and Mons spread their belongings everywhere. Shoes by the couch, baby magazines on the dining table. Mons even started talking about where she'd put the crib, as if she had already decided they were taking my bedroom. One day, I had to go into the office for a meeting. When I came home, my blood ran cold. My clothes, my computer monitor, everything was piled in the hallway. I stormed into the master bedroom and found Fernando packing the rest of my things like it was no big deal. "What the hell are you doing, Fernando?" I shouted. He didn't even flinch. Mom said we could start moving in here. The baby is coming soon, and we need the space. I was furious. I told you you're not taking my room. Fernando crossed his arms. The guest room is too small. I don't care. You're not taking my room. I grabbed my phone and called my mom, who wasn't even home. Did you tell Fernando and Mons they could take my bedroom? There was a long pause. Finally, she admitted, well, I thought it was the best solution. They need the space and you already have an office. It's not like you use the master bedroom that much. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I pay the mortgage. I pay the bills. And you think it's okay for them to take my room? She tried to calm me down, but I was done listening. I'm not giving them my room. If they don't move their things out, they need to leave. Something inside me snapped. It wasn't just anger, it was betrayal. I worked my whole life for what I have. The house is mine. The bills are mine. And they were acting like I had no say in my own life. I went back into the bedroom where Fernando was still folding my clothes. Move your things out now, I said, barely holding it together. Mons walked in and smiled condescendingly. You don't have to react like this. We're family. Family or not, this is my house. Move your things now, or I'll throw them into the yard. I started grabbing suitcases and boxes and dragging them into the hallway. Fernando protested, but I ignored him. When I finished, I said firmly, you have two options. You stay in the guest room and respect my rules, or you leave today. They were shocked I was being so direct. When my mother came home and saw the chaos, she sighed like I was the problem. You could just compromise a little. Compromise? I repeated. Give up the room I pay for? My privacy? No. I made it clear. If they crossed my boundaries again, everyone would be out. The following days were silent hell. I locked my bedroom and office every time I left, afraid they'd try something again. Then one morning, I got a notification from my bank. Someone had tried to access my account. I confronted them immediately. Mons's nervous expression said everything. That was the final straw. Pack your things and get out. Now. My mother begged me to calm down, but I was done. I gave them 1 hour or I'd call the police. I even hired a moving company. They left furious. My mother cried. My father followed silently. When the door closed, I sat on the couch and finally breathed. The house was peaceful again. But I wasn't done. I cut off all financial support to my parents. Closed joint accounts. Blocked Fernando and Mons. Then I exposed their fake perfect life image anonymously online. Rumors spread. Their reputation collapsed. Their marriage fell apart. Finally, I watched from a distance as my parents' financial situation spiraled. When my mother showed up begging for help, I looked her in the eyes and said calmly, I warned you. Don't cross my boundaries. I closed the door. My revenge was complete. They learned the hard way that you can't treat someone like an option and then demand to be a priority. And for the first time, I was finally free. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe.